Get ready with me whilst I tell you about all of the jobs I've had over the years and how I've ended up here where I am today. So my first job was actually when I was 14 and I got a job in a local pub just doing a bit of waitressing, and then I also did a little bit of babysitting as well. So I did those jobs alongside school and sixth form, and when I finished sixth form I got a job in a little local shop that was like a shop and post office. The job in the shop was nice, it was easy, I enjoyed it, but I knew it wasn't the kind of thing that I wanted to do forever. A family friend at the time got in touch with my mum and said that she might have a job for me, so that was when I left the shop and I started working at a local optician's. So the job at the optician's was a lot of like admin work, which I found quite boring, and it was actually a really toxic place to work. This was my first experience of a toxic workplace. Whilst I was working at the optician's, a very close family member became very poorly and was in hospital for a long period of time. So every other day after work I was doing an 80-mile round trip to go and visit said family member. It was a very uncertain and unpleasant time and I was very, very stressed. I also ended up in hospital myself at this time. So whilst I was recovering from my stay in hospital, I was applying for jobs. So I applied for a job as a carer. The care company got in touch with my workplace and asked for a reference without telling me, so they knew I was looking to go elsewhere. The family friend called me as soon as she'd had the call from the care company and was like, I know that you've applied for another job. So I was just totally honest and just said like, yeah, I'm not happy and I want to leave. She said, you've had X amount of days off sick, don't come back. Moving into that job in care was the best decision I ever made. So the care job was in something called reablement. I had to spend a week doing a full-blown training course, which was quite far away from home, so I went and stayed in a hotel and did that, and I absolutely loved the training course. I just knew this was what I wanted to do. I'd already spent a lot of time caring for the family member that had been in hospital. I was already at this point caring for Nan as well, so I've been providing care for Nan, aka Norma as you all know her, since I was about 16 years old. I just knew I wanted to help people and I wanted to be in the care industry. So I went and did my training, absolutely loved my training for the care job, thrived, loved it, and then I started in my caring role and it was so good. It was helping people in the local community that had had hospital stays or falls or periods of illness just like get back on their feet and find their independence again. But I knew I wanted to progress further, I wanted to do more, but the only way to progress in that company and in that role would have been to go and sit in an office and do admin and paperwork, which I already knew I didn't enjoy. I wanted that connection with people. That was what I really wanted to do. So that led me to look into social work. Around the same time, I had a personal experience with a social worker because the family member that was poorly in hospital was being supported by a social worker. That social worker treated my family member with so much respect and care and was not judgmental at all. I looked at that social worker and thought, that is what I want to do. So I applied to university to do social work. I applied and I got in and I went to Sheffield Hallam University and studied social work. I'm very proud to say that I got a first class honours in my social work degree and went on to work in a social work team. When I did my social work degree, you had to train in both children and adults. I knew I wanted to work with adults and therefore I got a job in adult social work. My first job in adult social work was in an older adults team. So that was supporting people over the age of 65. When I started that job, I was soon very, very disappointed. It was another toxic workplace. It was so stressful, there was no support, I wasn't sleeping, I was responsible for making decisions about people's lives and the lack of support was disgusting. I was a newly qualified social worker, chucked right in at the deep end, doing work that social workers with the years of experience should have been doing. I actually stayed in that older adults team for over a year, even though I was unhappy, unsupported, worried, but I just kept thinking, maybe it's me, maybe I'm weak, I don't know. There was only one senior member of staff in that team that was supportive. She was incredible, but she went off on maternity. And it was at that point that I thought, no, I need to move jobs. So I saw a job opportunity come up in a different team. I applied and I was successful. This new team that I got the job in was working with anyone 18 plus. So I got to work with such a diverse range of needs. It was so good. My team were amazing. I loved my job. I trained in eyelash extensions along the side of this job just to try and earn a little bit of extra money because me and Jake were wanting to buy our house. I really enjoyed my job in this team. Staff were supportive, professional, like I'd never known in social work before. It was during this time at this job that I posted a video on social media of me and my nan. During this time at the job that I enjoyed, life was really busy. I was looking after my nan, Norma. I was also looking after my granddad on my dad's side. I was doing eyelashes still, and I was doing TikTok. And then sadly, my granddad passed away, and it just made me realise that life is so short. We literally don't know what's around the corner. The most important thing to me in the world is my nan, and I had started to realise that I can generate an income from social media. So I spoke to Nan and we made the decision to give it a go, and here we are. And I am so incredibly grateful for every single one of you. If you can take anything from this video, just know that good things happen to good people and everything works out in the end. My only aim from all of this was for Nan to be comfortable, and I can hand on heart say she gets the best care she could wish for. If anyone's got any questions about anything I've just spoken about or any of the products that I've used on my face, just pop them in the comments. I'll get back to as many of you as I can, and thank you again.